Okay, so in your early days of writing rhymes, are you, because you're not from a town, it's not like you from the Bronx, New York. It ain't like you from Compton. It ain't even like you from Atlanta. At that time,
But
you said
everywhere
it
was
was
an
five.
outpost. You got to think about it. Everywhere was an outpost at one point or another. There was a time
No,
when,
I got you.
you know what I'm saying? So Atlanta was looked at as like a remote outpost at one point, you know what I'm saying? And then you know, I believe several of those barriers have been broken down, you know, over the years. Like it's pretty much infiltrated everywhere now, I say.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, even at that time, because it's you even in your own right, you're kind of ahead of the curve. You said it was like 5, 6 people tops that were writing rhymes back in the days in your school. Are you looked at as the cool white boy for writing hip hop
Not at
rhymes,
all.
or you looked at as a wigger? They just looking like, oh, this dude, you know, he's trying to be black.
Now, like I said, I played ball and I was pretty good, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially for a high school player. And so thankfully I had that chip in my pocket. And so, you know, I was pretty much viewed as just, you know, old cool Andy, you know what I'm saying? That's Warren Anderson Mathis is my real name. And at the time they called me Andy. And so I played ball, you know what I'm saying? And that was kind of like the number one thing that I was known for, I guess, you know, and just being I've always had a pretty welcoming spirit, a pretty, you know, just, I got some flavor about me and some characteristics about me that draw people in, you know what I'm saying? I've always been a quote unquote pretty cool cat. And, but as far as that particular thing, me being a rapper, wasn't nobody really checking for that. You know what I'm saying? Like the white side definitely. I always tell people this, I had made it, quote unquote. I was on MTV and BET before most people stopped snickering at me behind my back. You know what I'm saying? Like, so me not having the support of other people and all that stuff, that ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? I had to do it before anybody really supported me other than like my best friend and a couple other friends maybe, you know, but as far as like the amount of people like in the area I grew up in, people didn't believe in that. I mean, how could they? How could they have believed it? You know, it had to be a God thing or something beyond me that gave me such faith in the fact that it was going to happen, because I never doubted it.
Got you. You mentioned you moved to Athens, Georgia. You get there, you start taking it a little more serious.
Yes, sir.
How did that come into play? Are you just starting to book more studio time?
Well,
did you meet up with people who changed your life?
You know, Bobby Stamps, guy that, because my best friend, Stephen Herndon, had gone up to the University of Georgia on a football scholarship. And basically, after my first year, my failed attempt at playing college football or whatever, I moved back home. I was kind of homesick, missing my high school sweetheart at the time. And so I really just wanted to get back home. I had gone 4 hours away, and that was kind of that was a long way to go at that time. And so I wanted to get back home. I got back home and started just kind of drifting, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, getting a little more involved in like street type activities and stuff like that, and just living a pseudo wannabe adult life, you know, but really I'm just, you know, selling weed and you know, working little bullshit ass jobs, you know, that young people work, and just really starting to drift, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not really studying the whole college thing, because I didn't have a plan for college. Everybody just wanted to, that's what you do after high school if you're fortunate, you know what I'm saying? Because I had an opportunity to go play ball or whatever, and then I came back and after that didn't work out, and I went to junior college locally, but I just really wasn't into it, you know what I'm saying? So I would drop classes. I would sign up for classes, then drop them at the last minute, getting a refund, scamming financial aid and all that stuff. I had to take care of all that later, by the way. But, you know, and so I was just drifting. And my best friend was like, man, come up here, man. You know what I'm saying? Come up here. You know what I'm saying? They had an apartment. They had an open apartment. I lived with 3 ball players when I got up there. And that was a good life, man. It was cool. We were the cool kids on campus. And then I started meeting people, because Athens is closer to Atlanta. It's a more desirable location. A lot more people come from Atlanta to go out to UGA football games and stuff. And so, you know, I met Shannon Houchins, a guy that was a staff producer for So So Def, He now runs a company in Nashville called Average Joe's. It's pretty prominent. And me and him and a guy named Colt Ford, who does country rap also now. In the 90s, we were in a group called One Card Shy, and we started making music and going to the studio, and that's when I started like the journey of really, really honing my craft and get serious about it. Yeah, I was probably about 19 years old when I moved to Athens, and then I signed a record deal with Interscope Records when I was 22, 23. So,
Okay, all things considered, that happened relatively quick.
yeah.
How do you get on
That's because
the radar?
I really like to say this because it's just the truth, and I say this in all humility because it's a gift. You know, I was gifted with something. I can rhyme. You know what I'm saying? I really can. I don't know what a bitch might think, but I can rhyme. You know what I'm saying? So, and I always had a knack for it ever since I tried to. So when I really started like really taking it seriously and pushing, it did come quick. You know what I'm saying? Because the quality of the music, like, I still feel like I'm on the upward journey to this day of creativity and getting better as an artist and MC. I really don't think that, I don't have the resources promotionally speaking that I had at one time now. So people may not know that as much, but I'm telling you, like I've continued to get raw ever since more raw ever since the first day I wrote the first rap I ever wrote. So, but that process was really accelerated during that time because I was really living the culture, you know what I'm saying? I was really youthful. It's a youthful thing, I was in the streets running around and just really, really like 24 hours a day, you know what I'm saying? 7 days a week, 365 days a year, I was living the shit. So what I was doing, as far as representing what I was representing. So yeah.